Waste good food on you? That's cute, my sister sneered at her wedding. Just leave the gift and go home. I blinked, stunned. My parents didn't object. Well, maybe she should go, my dad muttered. All right, I'll go, I smiled, then added, but just know this. You'll all regret it. My name is Harper. Ever since I can remember, I've been able to feel things, deep, dangerous things, that others can't. Not just emotions, but waves of something darker. Anxiety, deception, anger. It's not a party trick. I don't see the future. But I sense what's buried behind the smiles people wear like masks. And for that, my family treated me like I was broken. Growing up in Charleston, South Carolina, I learned quickly that being weird made you disposable. My mom, Emma, told me I had an overactive imagination. My dad, Robert, just ignored me most of the time, unless it was to scoff at something I said. But it was my younger sister, Chloe, who really knew how to twist the knife. She's 3 years younger, with a face made for magazine covers and a voice that turns every head in a room. I was the shadow in her perfect life, the cautionary tale. Don't let her sit near me, she'd whisper to Mom at school plays. She makes everything feel heavy. I stopped trying. I stopped telling them when I felt something wrong. Even when I was 8 and told Mom not to trust Dad's new coworker just because I felt something was off, she waved it off. Later, that same man conned Dad into co-signing a lease that nearly cost us our house. But no one thanked me. No one apologized. I kept everything inside until middle school when I warned a teacher about a substitute gym coach. I couldn't explain why, but I knew something was wrong. That teacher trusted me and caught the man trying to install a hidden camera in the girls' locker room. It was the first time someone believed me. That teacher introduced me to a woman named Olivia, his aunt, a business consultant. But Olivia wasn't ordinary either. She looked at me like she knew. And when I told her about my intuition, she didn't flinch. I've had it too, she said softly. You don't have to be afraid of it. You just have to learn how to use it that day. My life split into before and after. Olivia became my mentor. She taught me how to channel my instincts, not just for people, but for businesses. She worked with CEOs, family companies, struggling startups. She said my gift was rare and real, and that I could help people if I learned how to manage it. And so I did. I built a small consultancy under Olivia's guidance, quietly, anonymously, mostly online. While my classmates were posting selfies and looking for internships, I was helping real companies recover from near collapse. But none of that mattered to my parents. When I told them I wouldn't be applying to a traditional office job after college graduation, their reactions were predictable. What kind of work-from-home nonsense is this? My dad snapped. If you're not bringing home a real paycheck, you can at least clean the house. My mom chimed in. Your sister is working at a top firm. You should be grateful we even let you stay here. And Chloe? She just laughed. Working from home, she said, twirling her hair. Must be nice to be unemployed in sweatpants. They had no idea I'd already helped revitalize a multi-million-dollar logistics firm. I didn't say anything. What was the point? For a year, I quietly paid rent to my parents, handled most of the housework, and took client calls after midnight. I built a reputation. Word spread, slowly but surely, and Olivia began referring more serious clients my way. Then one night, Chloe burst through the door, her stilettos clacking against the hardwood. I'm getting married, she announced. His name is Nathan. He's training to take over his dad's real estate development firm. And no, don't ask Harper, he's not hiring. She smirked when she said it, and I realized she truly believed I was still beneath her. My parents were ecstatic. Finally, someone worthy of our Chloe, Mom beamed. I always knew she'd land a winner, Dad added. I tried to smile politely, but something inside me twisted. I'd never met Nathan, but just hearing his name, it felt like cold smoke trailing up my spine. That sensation usually meant danger. 2 weeks later, they had an engagement dinner at our house. Nathan showed up in a perfectly tailored suit and slicked back hair, flashing that manufactured charm that too many people mistake for charisma. The moment I shook his hand, it hit me. Something was off. I couldn't explain it, not without sounding like the lunatic they all believed I was, but I felt it, like a fog wrapped around his silhouette, dense and manipulative. You've been dating for 3 months? I asked cautiously. Chloe rolled her eyes. God, Harper, why do you always sound like a therapist? Just say congratulations like a normal person. I just mean, maybe don't rush into signing anything, like a mortgage or, we're adults. Nathan cut in smoothly. Don't worry. We're not asking you to contribute. I backed off. For now. The wedding date was set for mid-September at a luxury venue near the bay. Chloe made a big show of announcing the menu, the custom floral arrangements, the guest list filled with high-profile names. One morning, she dropped a passive-aggressive group email. Reminder, +1s are reserved for close family and VIPs. And please be sure to bring a wedding gift. No freeloaders. It wasn't even subtle. I was the only sibling, and I wasn't bringing anyone. I knew what was coming. Olivia noticed my tension. Are you still going? She asked gently. I should. For closure, if nothing else. She placed her hand over mine. If things go badly, let them. You don't need their validation. The truth has a way of rising when the lights are brightest. I didn't know exactly what she meant, but I was about to find out. The wedding day arrived hot and cloudless. The kind of September day where the sun made everything look perfect. Too perfect. The venue was a sprawling coastal hotel outside Savannah, Georgia. White marble floors, blush roses, champagne towers. The kind of place where appearances meant everything. I wore a simple navy dress, no frills. I wasn't there to be seen. I was there because I needed to watch it unfold. Because something told me this wasn't going to end the way they expected. The ceremony itself was as dramatic as Chloe had always dreamed. Live string quartet, custom-written vows, a bridal entrance timed to a crescendo. But I wasn't watching them. I was watching him, Nathan. The way he held Chloe's hand, like he owned it. The way he greeted the guests, slipping in names like currency. The way his eyes never once flickered to his own parents sitting stiffly in the second row. There was something about the way he avoided their gaze that screamed calculation. After the I-do's, we were ushered into the reception hall. Everything gleamed. Gold accents, floor-to-ceiling windows, a jazz trio playing near the bar. I found my assigned table, the furthest one from the dance floor, near the server's entrance. Figures. I sat quietly. Others at my table introduced themselves. Distant cousins, college roommates, a former co-worker of Chloe's. And then I noticed something strange. No drinks, no hors d'oeuvres, no entrees. Other tables were already being served, their glasses filled, plates steaming. But ours? Nothing. I flagged a passing server. Excuse me, is there a delay with our meals? She glanced at her chart and gave me a tight-lipped smile. I'm sorry. I was told this table is self-managed. What? Before I could press her further, Chloe appeared at my side in her designer heels and lace gown, smiling like a pageant queen. She leaned close, her voice a whisper laced with venom. You didn't really think we'd waste perfectly good food on someone like you, did you? I blinked, stunned. You can just leave your little gift by the door and head home. Maybe grab a bag of potato chips on the way. That's more your vibe. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Then Nathan strolled over, grinning, arms slung casually around her waist. Everything okay here? He asked, like he was addressing a waitress. She's leaving, Chloe said sweetly. Aren't you, Harper? I looked around. Our parents were watching. My mother looked vaguely apologetic, but didn't move. My father just sipped his wine and muttered, Well, maybe she should go. It was like a switch flipped inside me. Not rage, not sadness. Something colder. Clarity. I stood slowly, napkin falling to the floor. My voice was calm. All right, I'll go. But just know, you'll regret this. Every single one of you laughter bubbled around me, hushed gasps and whispers. What is that supposed to mean? Chloe scoffed. You think anyone here cares about your little ghost whispers and bad vibes? Then from the head table someone stood. A tall man in a slate gray suit. Thick glasses, sharp posture. I care, he said. Every head turned. Chloe blinked. I'm sorry. Who? I'm Mason, he said. Nathan's older brother. Nathan stiffened. Chloe's smile faltered. I've been quiet because I didn't want to ruin your day. But Harper's right. You will regret this. All of it. Silence swallowed the room. Then Mason turned toward the guests and spoke with terrifying calm. Nathan's not a company heir. Our father's company filed for bankruptcy 6 months ago. He's been unemployed ever since. And the reason he pushed for this wedding so fast? To secure your money, not bring you into ours. The entire hall gasped. What the hell are you doing? Nathan growled. What you never could, Mason said. Telling the truth. Chloe turned to Nathan, voice shrill. Is this true? Is any of it real? Nathan said nothing. And the condo lease I signed last week? That you said we'd cover together? I never told you to sign anything, he muttered. Oh my God, she whispered, reeling. You let me put it in my name. My parents were pale. Mom clutched her necklace. Dad swore under his breath. Then someone else stood. From the second row of guest tables, a man in his 60s, silver hair, crisp suit. Enough, he said. This is already a disaster. Chloe blinked again. Mr. Cohen? The president of her company. I came here out of respect. Not for you, Chloe. For her, he pointed directly at me. Harper? Chloe whispered. You know him? She saved my company 6 months ago, Mr. Cohen said, his voice steady. At a time when we were floundering, hemorrhaging cash, and days from collapse, Harper stepped in. Quietly, anonymously. Her insights turned everything around. He turned to the crowd. Some of you work with me. You know what state we were in, and now, well, you know why I'm here today. Chloe's face was blank. I finally spoke. 6 months ago, your company was my client. Olivia connected us. I gave you the exact restructuring plan you pitched to the board, didn't I, Mr. Cohen? He nodded solemnly. You're the reason we're solvent. And I'll never forget that. The room erupted in murmurs. Chloe tried to laugh, but it came out as a dry wheeze. No, she works from home. Mr. Cohen turned to her sharply. Harper works from home because she chooses to. She doesn't need a fancy office to save companies. She just needs to be heard. Chloe took a step back. Her cheeks flushed crimson. Then the ripple of whispers became a wave. Guests muttering, some rising from their tables, a few already heading toward the exit. Someone at the gift table asked out loud if refunds would be given. And I stood still, calm as glass. You humiliated me, I said to Chloe, for years. Today was just the final act, but I'm done playing your ghost. She didn't reply. She couldn't. Mason walked over, gently placing a hand on my shoulder. Come on, let's get out of here. This ship's sinking. As I turned to leave, Mr. Cohen added loudly, Chloe, you'll be hearing from HR on Monday. The final music cue began to play, too late and too ironic. The bride was still standing, but everything around her was falling apart. I left the reception hall with Mason at my side and the ocean breeze hitting my face like a baptism. For the first time in years, I felt clean, like every judgment, every condescending smile, every whispered insult had finally peeled away. Behind us, the wedding was dissolving into chaos. I didn't look back. We walked to the parking lot in silence. When we reached his car, Mason leaned against the hood and turned to me. You okay? I think so, I said, almost surprised to hear myself. I should have warned you earlier, he muttered, running a hand through his hair. But I didn't think he'd actually go through with the wedding. Nathan always was, slippery. You did more than enough, I said. You stood up. That's more than my own family ever did. Mason looked at me thoughtful. I've spent most of my life cleaning up after him. But today I realized I didn't want to be part of the lie anymore. We stood in silence for another moment. The world around us had shifted. The old rules, the old hierarchy, it was all gone. And I wasn't sad. The fallout came fast. By Monday morning, the wedding was already making the rounds on social media. One of Chloe's former co-workers had posted a vague status about a bride publicly exposed, a fake CEO, and a real genius in navy blue. Screenshots, photos, and fragments of video trickled out within hours. It wasn't just gossip. The business world noticed. By Wednesday, Mr. Cohen had reached out to Olivia again, asking if Harper, that is I, would consider consulting long-term. Not just one-off projects, but a deeper, strategic partnership. After that wedding, he said on the call, you've got every executive's attention in a 50-mile radius. I didn't answer right away. I needed time. For once, I had options. Chloe, on the other hand, didn't. The condo lease she'd signed was non-refundable. The luxury unit Nathan had picked out was locked under her name, and without his fabricated salary or a second income, she couldn't cover the monthly payments. She tried to break the lease. The penalty fees alone would have emptied her savings. She begged Nathan to step up. He ghosted her, so she went to them, to our parents. I wasn't there for the conversation, but I heard about it 2 days later when Mom called me out of the blue. "Harper, it's been a rough week," she started, voice heavy. "That's putting it lightly," I said. "Your sister is struggling," she continued. "She's under a lot of pressure. And I know things got out of hand at the wedding, but maybe if we could all talk." "You mean help her pay the condo lease?" I cut in. Silence. "I've already helped this family more than I ever got back," I said, my voice calm. I did it quietly, willingly, because I thought that maybe, eventually, I'd be seen. Mom sighed. "You were seen. We were just overwhelmed. My sister humiliated me in front of 200 people, and you clapped for it." She didn't deny it. She just said, "Your dad and I are doing the best we can." "Your best was never for me," I replied, "and I'm done funding it." I hung up. By the end of the month, I'd moved into my own place. Nothing flashy, but mine. A quiet apartment with sunlight in the mornings, and room for my notebooks and whiteboards and late-night client calls. The checks started rolling in, slowly at first, then steady. Olivia helped set up a professional website. We launched a rebrand under my own name, Harper Strategic Insight. A month later, I was flown to New York to consult for a mid-size retail chain on the verge of collapse. After one meeting, they extended a 6-month contract. I declined. I didn't want to be owned. Instead, I offered a one-time framework and diagnostics package. They accepted, and within 3 weeks, profits rebounded by 12%. I was finally living the life they never imagined for me. Meanwhile, Chloe's world shrank. Word of her behavior at the wedding had reached her company. Her performance reviews came under scrutiny. Projects were reassigned. Within 6 weeks, she was moved to a lower-floor office. No windows, no assistant, just a shared cubicle and busy work. She tried to keep up appearances, but the shine was gone. Eventually, she called. I didn't pick up. She texted a week later. "I'm sorry. I need help." I stared at the message for 10 minutes. Then I replied, "Come by Friday at 4, 1 hour." When she arrived, Chloe looked smaller somehow. No designer bag, no heels. Her hair pulled back plainly. Her eyes didn't meet mine at first. "You look good," she said awkwardly. "You look tired," I replied. She exhaled. "I am." We sat at my dining table. I didn't offer coffee. "I lost everything," she admitted. "And I deserve it. But I don't know what to do. I have bills, and I can't go back home." "They've stopped helping. Welcome to my world," I said, not unkindly. She flinched. "I get it now. How awful I was. You were always right. About Nathan, about people, about everything. And I made you feel crazy for it." I didn't nod. I didn't argue. "I don't need a handout," she said. "I just need time. A place to sleep. I'll get a second job if I have to." I looked at her and thought of all the years she towered over me. The years she told people I was broken. The wedding. The laughter. The Chip's comment. And yet, there was something else now. A fracture in the glass. An opening. "I have rules," I said. "Okay. You don't insult me. You don't lie. You clean up after yourself. You don't ask for money." Chloe nodded, eyes welling up. "You sleep on the pullout," I added, "and you help with the groceries." She swallowed. "Thank you." "It's not a gift," I said. "It's a choice. Yours and mine." It wasn't a miracle, but it was something. She stayed. She kept quiet. She worked hard. We didn't talk much at first, but slowly, the rhythm became less awkward. We became, if not sisters, then at least 2 people surviving next to each other, which was more than I'd ever expected. I stopped sending money to our parents. Chloe couldn't afford to either. Without the financial help they'd gotten used to, they struggled. They rented out the guest room to strangers. Dad picked up part-time work. Mom started selling antiques online. Funny how quickly people adjust when the free ride ends. As for me, my work took off. By spring, I had 10 active clients. I built a wait list. Olivia and I were invited to speak at a tech conference in Boston. I wore a simple navy suit and got a standing ovation. And Mason? He kept in touch. At first it was texts, then a few coffees. Then one night he called and said, "I don't know where this is going, but I'd really like to find out. With you." I smiled. Me too. Because now I knew something I never had before. I wasn't strange. I wasn't broken. I was gifted. And finally, I was choosing who got to be close enough to see it.
You know that moment when you get uninvited from a wedding, but your fiancé still gets to be best man alongside his ex-girlfriend? Yeah. Apparently, that's what they call budget cuts in Texas suburbia. Spoiler alert, while he was busy playing happy couple with his ex in Napa Valley, I was busy making financial decisions he'd regret for years. I'm Joy Mitchell, 29 years old, marketing specialist in Austin, and the woman who just discovered that being the understanding fiancé was actually my worst career move yet. Friday morning, June 14th, 6:30 a.m. Troy Patterson, my fiancé of 8 months, boyfriend of 2 years, was already dressed, packed, and kissing my forehead like I'm his grandmother. Baby, you're honestly not missing anything. Just boring family stuff. Mostly speeches and photos. Right. Boring family stuff where he'd spend 48 hours standing next to Astrid Winters, his college sweetheart turned just a friend. The same Astrid who somehow became maid of honor for his cousin Simone's destination wedding. And Troy? Best man. Because the universe clearly majored in irony. The text from Simone had arrived 2 weeks earlier. Tuesday afternoon, right after my client presentation. Hey, Joy. So sorry, but we had to trim the guest list for budget reasons. Family only, basically. You understand, right? Family only. Except Troy wasn't technically family yet. But he made the cut. Me? The actual fiancé who'd helped him pick out that Tom Ford tuxedo? Expendable. I'd texted back, of course, no worries at all. Because here's what marketing professionals know. Never show your hand early. You smile, you wait, you strategize, then you strike when they're not looking. Troy had asked if I was okay with him still going. Over tacos at Torchy's, he'd even offered to skip it. But his eyes told a different story. He wanted to go. Needed to go. And honestly, I wanted him to go too. Because my gut was screaming that I needed to see what happened when Troy thought I wasn't watching. So Friday morning, I watched him load his car. Garment bag with the tuxedo I'd helped select. Dior Sauvage cologne I'd bought him for Christmas. Weekend bag packed for wine country. He left at 7:20. His Uber pulled away at 7:22. By 7:30, I was alone with my coffee and a decision to make. Troy had this old MacBook. Silver 2015 model he'd replaced years ago, kept in the hall closet as backup storage. Funny thing about backup storage, people forget it's still synced to their iCloud. 8 a.m. I opened that laptop. Password 04M5. My birthday, April 15th. Almost made me feel guilty. Almost. 8:13 a.m. Messages loaded from iCloud. 8:15 a.m. First message from Astrid, dated January 3rd. Can't wait to catch up at the wedding. It's been too long, T. The thread went back 6 months. Not daily messages, but consistent. Every few days, sometimes more. Inside jokes, college memories, photos I'd never seen. Then in April, buried between casual conversation, Astrid. Honestly, I think about us sometimes. Wonder what would have happened if we'd tried harder. Troy. Same, but timing, you know. Life gets complicated. Astrid. Does it have to be? I kept scrolling. No explicit declarations, no inappropriate photos, just emotional infidelity delivered in careful, deniable doses. Every, you get me, and she doesn't understand, was another paper cut. May 17th, 6 weeks ago. Troy wrote, sometimes I think I'm with the wrong person for the right reasons. Does that make sense? Astrid replied, completely. Safety isn't the same as happiness, T. There it was. My fiancé had told his ex-girlfriend that I was safe, but not happy. 9 a.m. Troy's flight took off. I watched the airplane icon cross my tracking app. American Airlines to San Francisco, then a rental car to Napa. 9:07 a.m. I opened our Wells Fargo joint account. The romantic saving for our future account we'd opened 18 months ago. Current balance, $43,000. Then I started scrolling transaction history. Something caught my eye. For 8 months straight, Troy had been making matching deposits and transfers. He'd deposit his paycheck contribution into our joint account, then immediately transfer $500 out to a separate savings account. His name only. An account I'd never heard of. Quick math. 8 months times 500 equals $4,000. Money that technically came from our shared finances, just recycled through his personal account. Half of those contributions, $2,000, came from my side of our joint deposits. I pulled up my contribution records. 18 months of deposits. My total, $21,500. Exactly half of everything in that account. 9:45 a.m. I called Wells Fargo, verified my identity, asked about withdrawal policies for joint accounts. The representative was cheerful. "Yes, ma'am. With your name on the account, you're authorized to make any transaction up to the full balance." "Just confirming," I said sweetly. "Thank you." 10:30 a.m. I drove to the Wells Fargo branch on South Lamar. Wore my blazer and nice jeans. Professional. Calm. The kind of woman who knows exactly what she's doing. The banker, Patricia, smiled when I sat down. "How can I help you?" "I need to transfer funds from my joint account to my individual Chase account." I slid my cards across her desk. $21,500. She processed it without blinking. 11 minutes total. Confirmation number appeared on the screen, then my phone. Balance transferred, $21,500. Zero remaining in joint account, $21,500. Perfectly fair, perfectly legal, perfectly mine. 11:15 a.m. Home Depot. 20 cardboard boxes, packing tape, bubble wrap. $63 total. 1 p.m. I started packing, methodically. My clothes, my books, my kitchen equipment. The throw pillows I'd bought because Troy's decorating aesthetic was frat house minimalism. Plants I'd kept alive for 2 years. Photos of my family. I left everything of his. The apartment could stay exactly how he wanted it. Boring, beige, and entirely his financial problem. 3:45 p.m. Last box loaded in my car. I stood in the living room one final time. 14 months of shared space. Sunday dinners. Movie nights. The place where I'd actually believed we were building something real. I walked to the kitchen table, pulled out a note card, wrote in neat handwriting, "Troy, since the apartment lease is solely in your name, I'm returning it entirely to you. My monthly contribution of $100 ends today. Rent is $1,850 a month. I'm confident you'll manage. Also, I withdrew my half from our joint account. Check the balance when convenient. Enjoy Napa. Joy." Propped it against the salt shaker. Left my key on top. 4 p.m. I drove to the East Side studio I'd viewed 3 months ago. Near Muller Development. Hardwood floors, big windows, tiny balcony overlooking downtown. $750 monthly. The landlord, a retired teacher named Mrs. Caldwell, met me with the lease. "You said you might need it eventually. Glad I held it." I'd paid the deposit 3 months prior. Before the wedding drama. Before finding any messages. Just insurance. Because my instincts had been whispering warnings even then. 6 p.m. Unpacking in my new place, solo, free, $21,500 richer. My phone buzzed. Troy, from Napa. "Just got to the hotel. This place is gorgeous. Wish you were here." I typed back, "Have the best time. You deserve it." Because he absolutely did deserve everything coming his way. Saturday, June 15th. While Troy was living his best rom-com life in Napa Valley, I was discovering that freedom tastes a lot like overpriced coffee from Joe's on South Congress. 9 a.m. I woke up in my new studio. Sunlight streaming through windows that were mine, in a space where nobody had secret bank accounts or ex-girlfriends on speed dial. The silence was gorgeous. No Troy humming off-key in the shower. No Troy leaving cabinets open. No Troy existing. I grabbed my phone. Troy's Instagram story from last night showed the rehearsal dinner. Long tables draped in white linen, string lights, vineyard views that screamed, "We spent your annual salary on appetizers." And there, right in the center of frame, Troy in a navy suit, Astrid in a dusty rose dress, laughing at something with their heads tilted toward each other. The caption, "Reunion vibes with the best people." I screenshot it, added it to a folder I'd started on my laptop titled, "Evidence of Poor Life Choices." 10 a.m. My phone rang. Unknown Austin number. "Joy, hi, this is Patricia from Wells Fargo." The banker from yesterday. Her voice had that careful, professional tone people use when delivering news. I'm calling because there was some unusual activity on your joint account this morning that I thought you should know about. My coffee stopped halfway to my mouth. Activity? Mr. Patterson attempted to make a withdrawal of $15,000 at 9 a.m. this morning, Texas time. The transaction was declined due to insufficient funds. She paused. He called our customer service line quite upset. They explained that a large withdrawal was made Friday by the other account holder, that's you, which left his requested amount unavailable. I smiled into my coffee. 9 in the morning. Troy had woken up early in Napa Valley, 7 a.m. Pacific, probably trying to pull cash before anyone noticed, maybe planning some grand gesture to impress Astrid, and discovered his safety net had vanished. I see. And the current balance? $21,500. Your withdrawal yesterday was completely legitimate. I just wanted to make sure you were aware he'd tried to access funds. Thank you, Patricia. I really appreciate you calling. Of course. Enjoy? Between us? Good for you. I hung up and laughed. Actually laughed out loud in my empty studio. Troy had tried to pull 15 grand, probably to look impressive in front of Astrid, maybe pay for some ridiculous romantic gesture, and discovered the well had run dry. 11 a.m., text from Troy. Hey, can you call me when you get a chance? Something weird with the bank? I texted back. In yoga class. Talk later? I was not in yoga class. I was at Target buying sheets that Troy had never touched, towels he'd never used, and a succulent that would outlive our relationship. 1 p.m. I met my best friend Marnie at Magnolia Cafe for lunch. Marnie's a lawyer, family law specifically, and the only person who'd known something was wrong before I did. You actually did it. She raised her mimosa. You moved out. And withdrew my half of our savings. I clinked my glass against hers. All $21,500 of it. Legally yours. Morally justified. Emotionally satisfying. Marnie grinned. So what's the plan? Just ghost him? Oh no. Ghosting is for people who owe you nothing. Troy owes me an explanation, an apology, and approximately 14 months of wasted time I'll never get back. I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots of messages between Troy and Astrid. I'm documenting everything. Timeline, amounts, conversations. Marnie's lawyer brain kicked in. Joint account, both names. You withdrew your exact contribution. That's airtight. Apartments in his name only. You gave written notice of departure. Messages prove emotional affair, but no grounds for him to claim anything. She looked up. Joy, you could destroy him with this. I know. I took a long sip of mimosa. I'm just deciding how public the destruction should be. 3 p.m. Back at my studio, I started building the PowerPoint. Yes, a PowerPoint. Because if you're going to blow up someone's life, you might as well do it with proper citations and slide transitions. Slide 1. Why Joy wasn't at the wedding, a presentation. Slide 2. Timeline of relationship, 2 years, engaged 8 months. Slide 3. Screenshot of Simone's budget cuts text, dated May 28th. Slide 4. Instagram photos of Troy and Astrid from the rehearsal dinner. Slides 5 through 12. Selected screenshots of Troy and Astrid's messages, January through May, with dates and timestamps. Slide 13. Bank statement showing Troy's matching deposit and transfer pattern, depositing to joint account while simultaneously moving money to private savings. Slide 14. Joint account showing my total contributions, $21,500, and withdrawal date, June 14th. Slide 15. Photo of my apartment key and goodbye note. Slide 16. Questions? I saved it. Backed it up to 3 different cloud services. This wasn't revenge. This was documentation. There's a difference. 6 p.m. Troy called. I let it go to voicemail. Joy, hey, so something weird happened with our account and I can't reach you and I'm kind of freaking out because I needed to grab some cash for wedding stuff. And it says there's only $21,000 left, but there should be 43, and the bank is saying you made a withdrawal yesterday, which doesn't make sense because you would have told me, right? Can you just call me back? I'm in the middle of wedding stuff, but this is important. Okay. Love you. Call me. The panic in his voice was absolutely delicious, like biting into a perfectly ripe peach, if that peach was flavored with karmic justice. I texted back, "Sorry, phone died, bank stuff is fine, everything's exactly where it should be, enjoy the wedding." 7:30 p.m. Troy's Instagram story showed the wedding ceremony. Outdoor venue, sunset lighting, Astrid and Troy standing on opposite sides of the aisle holding bouquets and looking absolutely picture perfect. His caption, "Honor of my life being part of this day." The comments were full of heart emojis and "you two look amazing" responses. Nobody mentioned me. Why would they? I wasn't there. I'd been budget cut out of existence. I screenshot those too, added them to the presentation. Slide 17, the wedding I wasn't invited to. 9 p.m., group text from Troy's mom, Diane, to what appeared to be the entire Patterson family group chat. 43 people, including me. Diane, "Beautiful ceremony. So proud of Simone and Blake. And doesn't Troy look handsome next to Astrid? They always made such a lovely pair." I stared at that message for a full minute. Troy's own mother, publicly commenting on how lovely her son looked with his ex-girlfriend. In a group chat that included me, his actual fiancé. The responses rolled in. Troy's Aunt Linda, "They really do. Some people are just meant to be." Troy's cousin Marcus, "Troy and Astrid back together? Did I miss something?" Simone, the bride, "Just good friends. But they did crush the choreographed dance at the reception, haha." Choreographed dance. My fiancé and his ex-girlfriend had a choreographed dance at a wedding I wasn't invited to, and his mother was commenting about how lovely they looked, and absolutely nobody thought this was inappropriate. I took a screenshot. Slide 18. Family group chat confirmation that nobody respected this relationship. 10:15. I poured myself a glass of wine. The cheap kind, $7 from Trader Joe's, because I was now financially independent and could buy whatever wine I wanted without Troy commenting that we should invest in better bottles. My phone buzzed. Text from Troy. "Can we please talk about the bank thing? I'm worried something got hacked." Me. "Nothing got hacked. We can talk when you're back. Focus on the wedding." Troy. "But Joy, I needed that money." Me. "Needed it for what?" 3 minutes passed. Then, "Never mind. We'll talk Monday." I smiled. He couldn't tell me what he needed $15,000 for because whatever it was, it involved impressing people at a wedding where his fiancé had been deliberately excluded. 11 p.m., one more Instagram story from Troy. The reception. Dance floor packed. Troy and Astrid in the center, clearly mid-choreographed routine, surrounded by cheering guests. His suit jacket was off, sleeves rolled up. Astrid was laughing, head thrown back. They looked like the stars of their own movie. The song tagged in the story, "The Way You Look Tonight" by Frank Sinatra. I sat there in my new studio, in my new life, watching my fiancé dance with his ex-girlfriend to a romantic classic while his entire family cheered them on. And you know what I felt? Nothing. No tears, no heartbreak. Just cold, calculated clarity. Because here's what Troy hadn't realized yet. He'd just given me ammunition. Every Instagram story, every family group chat message, every defensive "we'll talk later" text was another nail in a coffin he didn't even know he was building. Sunday morning would bring him home to an empty apartment. Monday morning would bring him the presentation. And the following hours? Those would bring him the understanding that the safe fiancé he'd taken for granted had a very creative definition of revenge. I finished my $7 wine and started planning slide 19. Sunday, June 16th. Troy's flight was scheduled to land at Austin Bergstrom at 7 p.m. I had exactly 10 hours to finalize my masterpiece. 8 a.m. I woke up to 17 new messages in the Patterson family group chat. Apparently, the wedding reception had been quite the event. Troy's Aunt Linda posted photos. Troy and Astrid cutting the cake together as best man and maid of honor. Troy and Astrid giving a joint toast. Troy and Astrid posing with Simone and Blake under string lights. In every single photo, they looked like the couple. Simone and Blake almost seemed like background characters in Troy and Astrid's reunion special. I scrolled through the comments. Troy's Uncle Richard. Beautiful couple. With a heart emoji pointed directly at a photo of Troy and Astrid. Troy's grandmother, Dorothy. So wonderful to see Troy so happy. Astrid, dear, you look lovely. Not one person mentioned me. Not one person asked where I was. I'd been erased from the family narrative so completely that his grandmother was complimenting his ex-girlfriend in a group chat that included me. I screenshot everything. The presentation was now 23 slides. 9 a.m. I called Marnie. Please tell me you're not backing down, she answered. I need legal advice. Hypothetically, if someone were to share documentation of their failed relationship with their ex's family, could that be considered defamation? Is it true? Every word, every screenshot, every bank statement. Then it's not defamation, it's disclosure. You're not making false statements, you're providing facts. Marnie paused. Joy, what are you planning? Nothing illegal. Nothing unethical. Just radically honest communication. My favorite kind. Do it. 10:30 a.m. I opened the presentation again. Reviewed every slide. Checked every timestamp, every amount, every detail. This needed to be airtight because Troy worked in finance and would absolutely try to find numerical errors to discredit everything else. Slide 24. I added the attempted withdrawal from Saturday. Screenshot of Patricia's call log with timestamp, notation of the declined $15,000 transaction at 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Slide 25. Calculation breakdown showing Troy's deposit and transfer pattern over 8 months, essentially recycling our joint contributions into his private fund while maintaining the appearance of equal partnership. The explanation was clear. Troy deposited his share into our joint account but immediately transferred $500 monthly to his secret savings. While technically his money, the pattern showed deliberate concealment and separate financial planning while claiming we were building a future together. Slide 26. Summary. Financial deception, emotional infidelity, family complicity, and really terrible event planning. 11 a.m. I drove to FedEx office on Lamar. Printed the presentation in full color. 26 pages, professional binding, 3 copies. One for me, one for my records, one for dramatic effect if needed. Total cost, $42, worth every penny. Noon. Back at my studio, I converted the presentation to PDF, created a shareable link, wrote the message I'd send to the family group chat. Draft 1. Hi everyone. Since there seemed to be confusion about why I wasn't at the wedding, here's a comprehensive explanation with visual aids. Too passive. Draft 2. Hey Patterson family. Troy asked me to share our relationship update with everyone. Here's the full story. Too misleading. Draft 3. Hello. I noticed some comments about Troy and Astrid this weekend. Before rumors start, here are the facts about why I wasn't at the wedding and what's been happening in our relationship. Everything is documented with dates and sources. Professional, clear, honest, perfect. I saved the message. Didn't send it yet. Timing would be everything. 2 p.m. My phone rang. Troy, I answered. Hey, how was the wedding? It was great. Amazing. Listen, I'm at SFO waiting for my flight and I really need to know what happened with our account. Joy, there's only half the money there. Right. I withdrew my half on Friday. Silence. Long, heavy silence. Then, you withdrew $21,000? $21,500, my exact contribution over 18 months. The remaining $21,500 is yours. But that was our money, for our future. I laughed. Actually laughed. Troy, I found your private savings account. The one where you've been transferring $500 every month for 8 months while depositing the same amount into our joint account. So let's not talk about our money when you've been building a separate financial future. Another silence. How did you... That's different. That was for a surprise. What surprise? A surprise breakup? A surprise new life with Astrid? What? No. Joy, you're being crazy right now. Crazy. There it was. The word men use when women catch them. I'm being factual. I withdrew my contribution. You kept yours? We're even. We're not even. I needed that money this weekend. For what? It doesn't matter. The point is, you should have talked to me first. Like you talked to me before opening a secret savings account? Or before spending 6 months emotionally reconnecting with your ex? Or before doing a choreographed dance with her at a wedding I was uninvited from? The dance was just fun. You're reading into things. Troy, your mother called Astrid lovely in the family group chat. Your grandmother complimented her. Your uncle called you two a beautiful couple. In a chat that includes me. Your actual fiancé. They didn't mean it like that. Then how did they mean it? I don't know. Look, my flight's boarding. We'll talk when I get home. Sure. See you at the apartment. I hung up before he could correct me. Before he could say, wait, are you at the apartment? Because I wanted that moment of discovery to hit him at full force. 3:30 p.m. I met Marnie at Mozart's Coffee on Lake Austin. Outdoor seating, perfect weather, celebratory atmosphere. He called you crazy, Marnie said. It wasn't a question. Took him less than 5 minutes. Classic deflection. Did you tell him about the messages? Not yet. I want him to walk into that empty apartment first. Let him sit with that reality before I show him I know everything. Marnie pulled out her phone. Okay, so legally speaking, you're completely protected. Joint account, equal access. You took your half. Apartment was his name only. You gave written notice. The messages are his own words, not obtained illegally. If he tries anything legal, he has no ground to stand on. And the family group chat? If I send the presentation there? It's a private family chat you're legitimately part of. You're sharing factual information about your own relationship. Unless you make threats or false statements, there's nothing he can do. She grinned. Joy, you built an airtight case. He's going to walk into that apartment, find you gone, realize you know everything, and have absolutely no recourse. It's beautiful. 4 p.m. I drove past our old apartment. Troy's Accord wasn't in the parking lot yet. I sat there for a moment, looking at the second-floor window. 14 months of my life in that space. 14 months of cooking dinners he barely noticed. Of cleaning messes he didn't see. Of being the safe choice while he dreamed about someone else. I pulled out my phone. Added one final slide to the presentation. Slide 27. P.S. Troy, the apartment rent is due on the 1st. It's $118.50. Good luck. 5:30 p.m. Back at my studio, I ordered Thai food from Thai Fresh. Pad CEW, spring rolls, mango sticky rice. $43. I didn't check my bank account first. Didn't calculate if I could afford it. Just ordered it. Because that's what freedom tastes like. Pad CEW without guilt. 6:45 p.m. Flight tracker showed Troy's plane had landed. I watched the little airplane icon touch down at Austin Bergstrom. Estimated arrival at the apartment. 7:30, accounting for baggage claim and traffic. 7 p.m. I poured wine, the good kind this time. $15 bottle from Whole Foods. Called myself fancy. 7:15 p.m. I opened the family group chat, read through the weekend messages again, 83 messages total. Not one person had asked about me. 7:28. My phone buzzed. Text from Troy. Where are you? He was home. He'd found the empty apartment. Me. Moved out Friday. Check the kitchen table. Troy. What do you mean moved out? Troy. Joy. What is happening? Troy. Did you really take all your stuff? Troy. Where are you staying? Troy. We need to talk right now. I turned my phone face down. Took a bite of Pad CU. Let him sit in that panic for a while. 8 p.m. 17 missed calls from Troy. 12 more texts ranging from confused to angry to pleading. The last one. I read your note. I don't understand. Can we please just talk like adults? I picked up my phone. Typed, adults don't have secret bank accounts. Adults don't emotionally cheat. Adults don't let their families disrespect their partners. Check your email and check the family group chat in about 30 seconds. I attached the PDF presentation to an email. Subject line. Your question about the bank account, sent to Troy at 8:02 p.m. Then I opened the Patterson family group chat. Posted my prepared message at 8:03 p.m. Hello. I noticed some comments about Troy and Astrid this weekend. Before rumors start, Here are the facts about why I wasn't at the wedding and what's been happening in our relationship. Everything is documented with dates and sources. Attached the same PDF. 27 slides of pure, unfiltered truth. Sent. 8:04 p.m. I watched the read receipts appear. One by one. Not immediately. People were winding down their Sunday evenings, checking phones casually. But they were opening it. 8:07 p.m. My phone buzzed. Troy calling. I declined it. Text from Troy. Joy. Please don't send that to my family. Too late. Already sent. Already being read. I opened a bottle of sparkling water, toasted myself in the mirror. The presentation was out there now. Troy was reading through his own words, his own financial decisions, his own family's disrespect. And in living rooms across Austin and beyond, 43 members of the Patterson family were discovering exactly why I hadn't been at that wedding. Tomorrow morning would bring reactions. Tomorrow afternoon would bring consequences. But tonight I'd let the truth do its work while I enjoyed my $15 wine and the profound satisfaction of knowing I'd documented everything perfectly. My phone buzzed. Troy calling again. I blocked his number. Another buzz. Text from an unknown number. Probably Troy using someone else's phone. We can fix this. Me. Nothing's broken, Troy. Everything's finally exactly how it should be. I opened Instagram. Posted a photo of my new studio's balcony view with downtown Austin glowing in the background. Caption, new chapter, new view, new everything. Within minutes, comments rolled in from my friends. Heart emojis, you go girl messages, questions about what happened, and one comment from Marnie. Chapter 1 was prologue. Chapter 2 is where the magic happens. I smiled. Tomorrow, the Patterson family would wake up to their comprehensive explanation. Tomorrow, the entire social circle would start connecting dots. But tonight belonged to me and my $15 wine and the profound satisfaction of perfect timing. Revenge isn't a dish best served cold. It's a PowerPoint best served simultaneously to the source and the audience. Monday, June 17th. Judgment Day arrived with sunshine and zero mercy. 7 a.m., I woke up to notifications exploding. The Patterson family group chat had gone nuclear overnight. I opened it cautiously. After I'd sent the presentation at 8 p.m. Sunday, the messages had started slowly, people finishing dinner, putting kids to bed, finally checking their phones. But between 9 p.m. and midnight, all 43 family members had apparently read every single slide. The first wave of reactions had been time-stamped around 9:30 p.m. Sunday. Troy's cousin Marcus at 9:34 p.m. Wait, what? Simone at 9:41 p.m. Joy, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Troy told me you couldn't come because of work. Work? He'd told his cousin I'd chosen work over her wedding. Then the dam had broken around 10 p.m. Diane at 10:08 p.m. Troy Patterson, you call me immediately. Linda at 10:15 p.m. I feel sick. Joy, those messages are real? Multiple family members asking for verification, expressing shock, apologizing. And Troy had gone completely silent after his initial panicked texts to me. No responses in the family chat. No defenses. Just digital silence while his family processed 27 slides of documentation. 7:15 a.m. Monday. New messages were still coming in as family members on the East Coast woke up. Uncle Richard at 7:12 a.m. Joy, I called you and Astrid a beautiful couple in that group chat. In front of you. I'm disgusted with myself and with Troy for putting us all in that position. Aunt Linda at 7:18 a.m. The fact that Troy let his entire family disrespect Joy while he played house with his ex is unforgivable. Grandmother Dorothy at 7:23 a.m. I raised you better than this, Troy Michael Patterson. The full name from Grandma. That was serious. 7:30 a.m. My phone rang. Unknown number. Joy? This is Diane, Troy's mother. Her voice was tight. I just want you to know I've been up since 10 p.m. reading your presentation. Multiple times. I owe you an enormous apology. I had no idea he was messaging Astrid like that, or that he'd lied about why you weren't at the wedding. Diane, you didn't know. I should have known. A mother should know when her son is behaving badly. And I enabled it by commenting on how lovely he and Astrid looked, in a group chat that included you, his fiancée. She paused. I'm horrified at myself and at him. 7:45 a.m. Text from unknown number. Joy, this is Astrid. Can we talk? I stared at that message. Astrid Winters, the woman who'd spent 6 months emotionally reconnecting with my fiancé, wanted to talk. Me. Talk. Astrid. Simone just called me. Forwarded me your presentation. Joy, I had no idea Troy was still engaged. He told me you two had broken up in April. That you were just living together until the lease ended. I read that 3 times. Troy had told Astrid we'd broken up. Had told her I was essentially a roommate he was phasing out. Me. We got engaged December 20th. 8 months ago. Never broke up. Still wearing my ring when he left for your wedding. Astrid. I'm going to be sick. Joy, I swear I didn't know. The message is, we were flirting. I know that now. But he framed it like he was single and just being cautious about jumping into something new. He said his last relationship, you, had ended badly and he wanted to take things slow. Me. Did anything physical happen at the wedding? Long pause. Typing bubbles appeared and disappeared 3 times. Finally, we kissed, Saturday night after the reception. He said he'd been waiting years to do that again. He made it sound romantic. Now I know he was cheating on you. There it was. Confirmation. Troy had kissed Astrid. Had physically cheated, not just emotionally. Me. Do you have screenshots of him saying we'd broken up? That I was just a roommate? 2 minutes later, my phone buzzed. 3 screenshots. Troy telling Astrid in late April that Joy and I ended things, and we're just coexisting until I find a new place, and I'm finally free to see where this goes with us. I saved them immediately. Added them to the presentation as slides 28, 29, and 30. 8:15 a.m. I updated the PDF and posted the new version in the family group chat. Update. Additional information from Astrid confirming Troy lied to everyone involved. 3 new slides with documentation. He told Astrid we'd broken up in April while still engaged to me. 8:20 a.m. The chat exploded again. Simone at 8:22 a.m. He kissed her? At my wedding? While engaged to you? Diane at 8:24 a.m. Troy Michael Patterson. If you don't call me in the next hour, I'm booking the first flight back to Austin and we will have this conversation face to face. Marcus at 8:26 a.m. This is actually insane. Bro, you're genuinely terrible. 8:35 a.m. Troy finally responded in the group chat. This is a private matter between Joy and me. She had no right to air our relationship problems to my entire family. This is vindictive and inappropriate. I typed back immediately. You involved your entire family when you let them publicly comment on how lovely you and Astrid looked together in a group chat that included me. You involved them when you lied to Simone about why I wasn't at the wedding. You involved them when you used family events to reconnect with your ex while lying to everyone. I'm just providing the context you deliberately withheld. Diane at 8:37 a.m. She has every right, Troy. You humiliated her publicly. She's responding with facts. That's fair. 8:45 a.m. My phone rang. Marnie. Joy. Tell me you're seeing this. Front row seat to the destruction. His own mother is defending you against him. His grandmother used his full name. That's nuclear-level family disappointment, Marnie laughed. The cousin Simone just edited her Instagram wedding post. Did you see? I opened Instagram. Simone's latest post from the wedding had a new caption. Previously, best day ever with the best people. Now, best day ever. Special thanks to the bridesmaids and groomsmen who showed up with integrity and honesty. The comments were already filling up with speculation. 9 a.m. More messages flooded the family chat as West Coast relatives woke up and caught up on the overnight drama. Troy's aunt from California at 9:03 a.m. Just read all 30 slides. Troy, I'm ashamed to be related to you right now. A cousin I'd never met at 9:12 a.m. Joy, I don't know you, but you deserve so much better than this. 9:30 a.m. Troy texted from yet another number. You've made your point. Can we please talk in person? This has gone too far. Me. Nothing's gone too far. Everything is exactly as far as it needs to go. You lied to me, to Astrid, to your family, and to yourself. I'm just declining to help you hide it anymore. Troy. My own family won't talk to me. Simone blocked me on everything. My mom is threatening to fly to Austin just to yell at me in person. Me. Sounds like they're showing you the same consideration you showed me. Troy. What do you want? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry, I messed up. Can we move forward now? I actually laughed out loud. Move forward. Like 6 months of calculated betrayal could be erased with, I'm sorry. Me. I don't want anything from you, Troy. I already took what was mine. The money, the truth, my self-respect. You keep the apartment, the rent you can't afford alone, and the reputation you earned. 10 a.m. Email notification from Wells Fargo. Troy had requested to close the joint account. The remaining $21,500 would transfer to his individual account within 5 business days. Fine by me. That money was his. We were finally, completely even. 10:30 a.m. Marnie called again. Diane reached out to me. Troy's mom? She got my number from someone in the family chat. Asked if you needed legal representation in case Troy tries to claim you stole money or defamed him. She offered to pay for a lawyer to protect you against her own son. I sat down on my balcony. She offered to pay for my defense against Troy. She feels terrible. Said this isn't the first time Troy's done something like this. Apparently, he had a high school girlfriend he cheated on, blamed her for being too controlling when she found out. Diane believed him then. She's not making that mistake again. 11 a.m. I drove to Hopdoddy to meet Marnie for a celebratory lunch. Burgers and truffle fries felt appropriate. Check Instagram, Marnie said as soon as I sat down. Troy had posted a story. Black screen, white text. Going through a difficult time. Please respect my privacy. The replies were brutal, friends calling him out. Respect like you respected Joy? And maybe try honesty for once. Noon. Back at my studio, I checked the family group chat one more time. Someone had created a new chat. Same 42 people. Everyone except Troy. First message from Simone. New chat. Clean slate. No liars welcome. Second message from Diane. Joy, you're always welcome at family events. Troy is not until he gets serious help and makes genuine amends. 1 p.m. Astrid posted on Instagram. Photo of herself on a hiking trail. Caption. Learning to trust my instincts again. Also learning that just friends with an ex who's engaged is never just friends. Growth hurts, but ignorance hurts worse. Comments flooded in, including one from Simone. Proud of you for handling this with grace. I commented, same boat, clearer view now. Here's to better questions and honest answers. Astrid replied within minutes. Joy, I'm so sorry I didn't ask the right questions sooner. Thank you for the truth. 2 p.m. My phone buzzed. Troy, from another new number. I lost everything because of you. I stared at that text for a long moment, then typed, No, Troy. You lost everything because of your own choices. I just stopped pretending those choices didn't matter. There's a difference. Blocked, deleted, done. 3 p.m. I looked around my studio, my space, my furniture. My life rebuilt in 72 hours. No Troy, no lies, no performance of being the understanding fiancé while being systematically disrespected. My phone buzzed one last time. Message from Diane. Joy, I know this probably doesn't matter much coming from me, but you handled this with more grace and intelligence than Troy deserved. You're going to do amazing things. Thank you for not letting him get away with it. I smiled. Typed back, thank you for holding him accountable. That matters more than you know. 4 p.m. I posted on Instagram. Photo of my balcony at golden hour with a glass of wine. Caption. Sometimes the best revenge is just refusing to carry someone else's lies anymore. Update? Thriving. The comments came fast. Friends celebrating. People asking what happened. And buried in there, one from Marnie. To documentation, boundaries, and knowing your worth. The Holy Trinity. 5 p.m. I opened my laptop. The blog I'd been planning, receipts and reckonings, needed its first post. I started typing. Title: The Day I Chose Myself, A Guide to Documentation and Departure. The words flowed. Everything I'd learned. Every mistake I wouldn't repeat. Every red flag I'd ignored. Every moment I'd chosen peace over self-respect. And every single step I'd taken to reclaim both. By 6 p.m., I had 1,500 words. By 7 p.m., the post was live. By 8 p.m., it had been shared 47 times. Women I'd never met were commenting. I needed this. This is my story, too. Thank you for the roadmap. Turns out my worst relationship was becoming someone else's survival guide. Troy got Denver, therapy, and consequences he'd spent 31 years avoiding. I got a growing platform, $21,500 in savings, and the profound satisfaction of knowing I'd burned it all down with nothing but truth and perfect documentation. Seemed like a fair trade to me. 3 months later, September 20th, Austin had shifted from unbearable summer heat to that perfect fall weather where you can actually sit outside without melting. I was on my balcony with coffee, watching downtown wake up, when my phone buzzed. Marnie, have you seen Troy's LinkedIn? I don't follow Troy anywhere. That's kind of the point of moving on. He updated his profile. New job. New city. I opened LinkedIn despite myself. Troy Patterson's profile showed a recent update. Excited to announce I've accepted a position as Junior Financial Analyst at Denver Metro Solutions. New city, new chapter. Junior Analyst. He'd been a Senior Analyst in Austin. This was a demotion disguised as a fresh start. The comments tried to sound supportive, but I could read between the lines. Troy had torpedoed his Austin life so thoroughly that relocating to Colorado with a step backward was his only option. Denver's lovely this time of year, I told Marnie. Very far from Texas. Perfect distance. His mom commented on the post, said she's proud of him for getting help and making changes. I scrolled down. Diane had written, "Proud of you for doing the work, son. Therapy is hard but necessary. Keep going." So Troy had actually followed through with therapy. Interesting. Growth looked painful on him, but at least it was happening. My life, meanwhile, had become unrecognizable in the best possible way. The studio apartment I'd rushed into that frantic Friday in June turned out to be exactly what I needed. $750 monthly meant I was saving $350 compared to the $1,100 I'd been paying at Troy's place. Over 3 months, that was over $1,000 in savings just from housing alone, plus the $21,500 I'd withdrawn, still sitting in a high-yield savings account, earning interest, untouched, except for a weekend trip to New Orleans I'd taken in August. Work had exploded in the right direction. That campaign I'd been presenting when Simone uninvited me landed the client, resulted in a promotion to senior marketing strategist in July with a 15% raise. Turns out when you're not spending emotional energy managing someone else's ego, you have a lot more bandwidth for actual career advancement. The Patterson family had stayed in touch. Weirdly, Diane texted every few weeks asking how I was doing, sending articles about marketing she thought I'd find interesting, inviting me to coffee. I'd gone twice. We'd sat at Mozart's Coffee talking about everything from work to family dynamics to Troy's childhood patterns that explained so much about his adult dysfunction. I coddled him, she'd said during our second coffee. Made excuses. Let him blame others for his mistakes. I created that problem and then acted shocked when he destroyed something good. I'd told her that Troy was a grown man responsible for his own choices, but I appreciated her accountability. We'd left as something like friends. Strange how losing a fiancé could gain you an almost mother-in-law who actually respected you. Simone and I had grabbed brunch twice. She'd shown me her wedding photos, the professional ones, not the Instagram disasters, and we'd laughed about how obvious Troy and Astrid's chemistry had been in retrospect. Every single photo of them looks like an engagement shoot, she'd said. Meanwhile, Blake and I look like friends who accidentally wandered into someone else's wedding. Her marriage was solid, though. Blake turned out to be genuinely kind, funny, and the type of guy who'd driven 3 hours to return Simone's forgotten phone charger during their honeymoon, the kind of small gesture that revealed character. Troy would have told her to buy a new one. Astrid and I had developed the strangest friendship. We'd met for coffee in July. Awkward at first, then cathartic. Two women who'd been lied to by the same man, comparing notes like scientists discovering they'd been researching the same phenomenon from different angles. "He told me you were controlling," Astrid had said, "that you tracked his phone and accused him of cheating constantly, made you sound paranoid." "He told me you were desperate," I'd countered, "that you'd been chasing him for years and he was just being polite by staying in touch." We'd stared at each other across the table at Houndstooth Coffee, then simultaneously started laughing. The projection, the manipulation, the sheer audacity of painting both of us as the problem when he was the common denominator. Astrid was seeing someone new now. A graphic designer named Marcus, not Troy's cousin, different Marcus, who she'd met at a community art event. From her Instagram, he looked like the kind of guy who brought her coffee at work and remembered her friends' names. Baseline decent human behavior that felt revolutionary after Troy. I wasn't seeing anyone. Hadn't even tried. Didn't feel like a loss, though. Felt like I was finally getting to know myself without performing for someone else's comfort. Turns out I liked my own company. I could spend entire Saturdays reading on my balcony without someone sighing dramatically about being bored. Could cook elaborate meals or eat cereal for dinner without judgment. Could make plans without checking if they conflicted with someone else's schedule. Freedom tasted like spontaneity and smelled like expensive candles I bought without guilt. The most unexpected development? I'd started that side project in August. The blog, Receipts and Reckonings, about financial literacy and emotional intelligence in relationships. How to protect yourself. How to spot red flags. How to document everything. When to walk away. It had started as therapy, writing out everything I'd learned, but other women started finding it, sharing their stories, asking questions. The blog had grown to 15,000 followers in 6 weeks. 2 literary agents had reached out about turning it into a book. A book. About my catastrophic relationship with Troy Patterson, reframed as a manual for recognizing patterns and protecting yourself. The irony was delicious. Yesterday I'd received an email. Subject line: Amends. From Troy. I'd stared at it for a full minute before opening. "Joy, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. My therapist suggested I write this as part of my recovery work, with no expectation of response. I was wrong. About everything. I lied to you, to Astrid, to my family. I prioritized my comfort over your dignity. I took your contributions for granted, emotional and financial. I blamed you for reacting to my actions instead of taking responsibility for those actions. You deserved honesty, respect, and partnership. I gave you none of those things. I'm sorry. Not because I want you back or because I think sorry fixes anything. Just because you deserve to hear it. I hope you're doing well. I hope you found someone who treats you the way I should have. Troy." I'd read it twice. No excuses buried in the apology. No "but you also" deflections. No requests for forgiveness or reconciliation. Just accountability. I'd written back one sentence. "Thank you for saying that. I hope Denver treats you well." Then I'd deleted his email and moved on with my afternoon. Because here's what I'd learned in 3 months of reconstruction. Closure isn't something someone gives you. It's something you give yourself. Troy's apology was nice. It changed nothing about my life except confirming that the work I'd done, the documentation, the boundaries, the walking away, had been exactly right. This morning, September 20th, I signed a lease on a 1-bedroom apartment in the same building. Upgrade from the studio. Bigger kitchen, actual bedroom, rent of $950 that I could easily afford with my new salary. Still $200 less monthly than what I'd been paying at Troy's place. Moving day was October 1st. I'd also booked a flight to Italy for November. 2 weeks. Solo travel. Rome, Florence, Venice. The trip I'd suggested to Troy last year that he'd vetoed because Europe is overrated and expensive. Turned out Europe was neither when you weren't funding someone else's secret savings account. My phone buzzed. Text from Diane. "Troy told me he emailed you an apology. I didn't ask him to. Just want you to know that. Hope you're well. Me. I'm great. Really great. Tell him Denver's lucky to have him." Because I meant it. Not sarcastically. Troy was doing the work, facing consequences. Growing up at 31 because he'd finally run out of people willing to enable him. That was good. That was necessary. And it was no longer my problem or my concern. I finished my coffee, opened my laptop. The book proposal was due to agents next week. Chapter 1. The Day I Chose Myself was already written. Chapter 7. Why Documentation Saves Lives practically wrote itself. The conclusion was still being drafted, but it would be something about how the worst thing that happens to you can become the foundation for the best thing you build. My phone buzzed again. Marnie. Brunch Sunday? I have news. Me. Always. Magnolia Cafe? Marnie. Where else? 11 a.m. Bring your appetite. I'm buying mimosas to celebrate. I smiled. She'd somehow already heard about the book agents. That's what best friends do. I looked around my studio one last time. In 11 days, I'd be packing again, moving down the hall to a bigger space. In 7 weeks, I'd be in Italy. In 6 months, maybe holding a book contract. And Troy? Troy would be in Denver, starting over, learning lessons he should have learned a decade ago. The difference? I was moving forward. He was catching up. I closed my laptop, grabbed my keys. Thursday morning yoga class at Black Swan started in 30 minutes, and I'd promised myself I'd actually go this week instead of just paying for the membership. As I locked my door, I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror. 29 years old, single, thriving, free. Funny how the worst breakup of my life had led to the best version of myself. Turns out you don't need closure from the person who hurt you. You just need distance, documentation, and the confidence to know you made the right call. And maybe a really good PowerPoint presentation, because revenge isn't about destruction. It's about refusing to shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. It's about taking your half of the savings account and your whole sense of self-worth and walking away while they're busy pretending everything's fine. Troy got Denver and therapy and a junior analyst position. I got Italy and a book deal and the profound peace of knowing I'd never settle for safe again. Seemed like a fair trade to me.